All right, back in the Marriott Center here on the campus of Brigham Young University. Alex Jensen courtside on the St. Mary's IMG Sports Network. St. Mary's leading BYU 41-30, and we are lucky enough to be joined by Ken Pomeroy of KenPom.com. Excuse me, it's been a long first half, Ken. But we appreciate you joining us, certainly.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So for our listeners that don't understand kind of advanced analytics, explain what your numbers do as you run. I mean, if I'm just shooting in the wind here, but an analytics kind of equation that gives you an RPI type of number.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what I do is I try to basically normalize scoring for pace. So I'm looking at points per possession scored on offense, points per possession allowed on defense. So, St. Mary's happens to be the team that has the fewest possessions per game in the entire country. So, they're a team that doesn't score a lot. They're not going to score in the 90s often, but their offense is pretty effective when you break it down on a possession-by-possession basis, and so you can kind of compare it on the same level as you would compare, a faster-paced team like BYU, for instance.
So just kind of, almost dumbing it down, sort of, you want to take kind of advanced statistics, advanced metrics to create a whole different formula to come up with these rankings.
Yeah, pretty much, but it's not like some sort of mathematical voodoo. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. Just looking at points per possession. I mean, it's we think about points per game, right? Same type of thing. Just points divided by possessions, and compare those two. And whoever basically can maximize their offensive efficiency and their defensive efficiency, those are the teams that are going to be rated well.
How did you start this whole thing with your website and KenPom.com and basically what you do?
Yeah, it was an idea that I came up with probably about 15 years ago. I was reading stuff online about baseball. I wasn't a huge baseball fan, but there was a lot of analytically driven content on baseball, and obviously there were a number of kind of great stats that baseball had already developed. And I looked around for stuff in college basketball, and there was nothing that really compared. So I kind of started, looking at what other people had done, developing some stats myself, started building the website, just developing some tools that would allow me to kind of understand, hey, pick any team in the country, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, how good are they? It's obviously a very difficult sport to follow with, 300-plus teams. So, I just wanted to create a good reference tool and have the best stats on there to figure out, what teams did well and what they didn't do well.
RPI has always been the traditional, if you will, ranking system used to pick the field of the tournament. What does your system, or what do your numbers tell people about a team that an RPI may not, and where does RPI fall short of kind of telling the whole story?
Yeah, there's a couple key areas. One is really handling games on the road, home and road difference. The RPI is a little bit klutzy in kind of how it handles that. My system, actually has a home court advantage built into it, so it knows, that playing a game at BYU, even though in my system they're only about the 80th rated team, when you play at BYU, they're like the 50th rated team. So it handles that better. And it also handles cases where you're looking at teams that are kind of dominating their conference in a weaker league. So, a Gonzaga or a St. Mary's are great examples of that. Wichita State and the Missouri Valley, they're just destroying their conference. And obviously none of those wins in and of themselves are quality wins per se. But, when you consistently beat teams in the 100 to 200 range, especially on the road, and you're beating them by decent margins, that really does say something about your team, even though they're not, quality wins in the way that the RPI would define them.
And we had a big discussion about the top 50 wins that people so often look at when deciding the field. And really, that's kind of flawed logic, isn't it? When you look at a team like St. Mary's or Wichita State that's in a mid-major conference, and you look at a team like, we were talking before, Iowa State, who's in a major conference, and you put them in the West Coast Conference or the Missouri Valley, their record may not be as good as some people would think they would be.
Yeah, people that watch the power conferences, they think, an Iowa State or a Wake Forest or, Texas Tech, teams that are kind of mid-level teams with 500-ish records in their conference in power conferences, they think, if they went to the WCC, they would just steamroll the competition. But, when you really break it down mathematically, look at history and you can kind of compare team strengths and get a sense for, hey, if Iowa State played at, San Francisco, what would the chance be that they win that game? They would be a favorite, but not a huge one. And when you play those type of teams over and over again, eventually you're going to lose a game or two usually. So it really would be a case where it's not as easy as it looks to do what St. Mary's has done really, and only have 2 losses in the league. And we can't have Iowa State join the WCC, but there's a lot of theory to suggest that they wouldn't have the same record that St. Mary's has right now.
Your numbers. Your system seems to like St. Mary's quite a bit. Am I saying it right, by the way? I'm not a numbers guy. Is system the right word?
Absolutely.
Or is okay, perfect. I just want to make sure. So St. Mary's is ranked number 17 in the Ken Pom ratings, and in fact, No, Gonzaga's of course number one. Okay, but
right.
what does your system like about St. Mary's? What do they do well that gives them such a lofty ranking?
Yeah, so they're very efficient offensively. You know, they're in the top 15 of my offensive efficiency rankings. And again, I don't know where they rank in terms of scoring offense, you know, points per game, but it's probably not very good because they don't play many possessions. But they're very efficient offensively, and defensively, they're pretty good as well. You know, in the top 50. The one thing about their defense, you know, that I've always kind of admired, Randy Bennett is really the best in the country in terms of preventing 3-point attempts. Great perimeter defense. We've already seen it in this game where BYU's had, you know, very few three-pointers at halftime, and furthermore, I think all of their threes have been pretty well contested. So that's really kind of the foundation of the St. Mary's defense, and it's, you know, you look year after year after year, you can guarantee that they're going to be among the best in the country in preventing threes.
What did you expect coming into this game? Obviously, we talked before. I mean, it's a clash of styles. BYU wants to go fast. St. Mary's wants to go slow. What were you expecting to see, and how has it played out so far here in the first half?
Yeah, you know, I'm impressed with the way St. Mary's has played this first half. It's been a little bit faster paced than I would have expected. It's been 35 possessions at the half. The first time these two teams met, it was 62 possessions, and that's about what St. Mary's averages on the season. So we're headed for about a 70-possession game if we keep that up. A little bit faster than St. Mary's would like, but, you know, the fact they've been able to kind of build that double-digit lead, really playing in foul trouble in the front court. You know, Jordan Hunter, obviously a revelation in that first half coming in and playing well. But, you know, you got to be impressed with the Gales came into this road environment and stuck it to BYU here for the first 20 minutes.
We'll drop the mic quite literally on this last one. Judging by the numbers the last 4 or 5 years, should the West Coast Conference, if it's an average year, be a multiple bid conference on an annual basis?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think it should be a 2-bid conference, and I think, you know, when BYU joined the league, we would have thought, you know, 3 bids would be somewhat regular, maybe not something every year. So, yeah, I think that's certainly possible, and hope, you know, it really is kind of on, I think, the rest of the teams in the league too. You know, obviously we've seen some progress with Santa Clara and San Francisco with new coaches. They've shown some signs of life this year of improving, but really getting the bottom of the league kind of to, you know, if you could have another top 100 team or, you know, 2 more top 100 teams to go with the top 3, that would make the conference even a little bit more healthy and help, you know, kind of make it a 3-bid league year after year.
Well, and you mentioned the 2 schools that I was thinking of, Santa Clara and San Francisco, who have kind of made a leap this year, and really, I mean, the stronger your conference is from top to bottom, like you said, the better chance you have.
Yeah, that's always been an issue with the WCC, as you know. I mean, you know, you have the top teams that year after year are solid, but, you know, getting the bottom of the league to kind of be credible is something to look forward to. And again, you know, you are seeing those signs of life from those 2 schools we mentioned. So, you know, hopefully that can continue. I
can sit here and talk to you all day, Ken. It's really interesting stuff. But with the clock winding down, we appreciate you joining us here on the St. Mary's IMG Network, and we hope I hope our paths cross again so we can do this once more.
All right, sounds good, Alex. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot. That's Ken Pomeroy of KenPom.com. We'll take a quick break, and we will return on the St. Mary's IMG Sports Network. Back on the St. Mary's IMG Sports Network, it's time to hear from the coach. It's brought to you by Shamrock Office Solutions, a proud partner of St. Mary's Athletics. Alex Jensen back courtside. We're joined by Marty Clarke. I think we talked before, you know, in our pregame show about how that game against LMU may have been the best 40 minutes that you've played all season. This may be the best 40 minutes you've played all season now.
Yeah, I mean, probably until the last 5 offensively, I thought we were – and really we did what we needed to do offensively. We were just trying to use clock and spread the floor and not turned over. And then that's exactly what we needed to do. Where the shot goes, you know, it's almost irrelevant. But leading up to that, I thought we were really good offensively. I thought we were great defensively. You know, the start of the game looked like Mika might be going to get in there and have a bit of a field day, but Geordie Hunter really came in and turned that around. Probably defended him better than anyone else in there, and had a real impact on the game. You know, his length, his athleticism. You know, he bothers people around the rim, and he can get back to rollers, and you know, he's really coming on.
I was just going to say, I mean, he continues to get better and better and better and better, and that really gives you something that I don't think any team in this conference has, is 3 guys that can defend the post at a high level. Yeah,
no, that's for sure. And defend him in different ways. I mean, Dane obviously uses quickness and gets around and kind of becomes annoying because you don't really know where he is, and he can get in there and bat balls out, and Geordie does it with pure athleticism, and he's got his length, and then Jock's like a big, strong guy that can get guys off the post, and yeah, it's a nice way to have a choice of how you're going to guard different people.
Were you guys waiting for a run? I mean, obviously you were defending tonight at a very high level. BYU was only able to get off 14 threes, and I think that was a key to the game. And most of those were contested.
Yeah,
you know, that's a big part of it. But how good were you able to guard tonight, or how well were you able to guard tonight with them just shooting 13 free throws, they never made a run, and they only make 4 threes.
Yeah, I think a big part of not letting teams like BYU get runs is actually controlling the tempo offensively and not allow them to. If they get a quick score, we really didn't turn over too much, and they didn't get many breakouts. And when they get one of them, they're going to be India, try and get another one and try and build tempo and momentum that way. But I thought we handled that really well with the way we ran our offense. Got the ball side to side, it went inside, it went outside. Ran some ball screen stuff as always, and bank shots. And that's the other thing. They went to a zone, and we blew that open and did a really nice job of understanding what you need to do in this building to get a win.
What was the difference from last year to this year? From last year's game to this year's game in this building against that 1-3-1 zone?
Well, last year, remember, we were up, I think it was 8 at half time, and we were in control of that game, and then they threw the zone in there, and we really probably just hadn't prepared well enough, but we didn't attack it, and we tried to throw it over the top of the zone, like going from side to side. Like 1-3-1 that's trying to split the court in half, and they play the guy up the top, and he wants you to throw it up in the air. So we made some adjustments, put it on the floor, got in the middle of it, and then threw it out and around that guy rather than try and throw it over him. It just gets there quicker. It means the next guy's got to step up and help, and then you have your corner guys. And you put Calvin in one corner and Fitz in the other corner, then we're probably going to make shots. That's just how it is. The way they run their zone, they have their big guy at the back of it chasing corner to corner. So it goes from one corner, we get skipped across, throw it down, and he's got to turn around all the way back the other way. And even if you don't make the shot, it's wearing Mika out, and you can see he's not interested in doing that after a while. And one of those two guys get open, and it's in.
Seemed like you had the way you defended too. I mean, really active hands, a lot of deflections tonight. You came away with 3. It seemed like more than 3 steals, but 3 steals officially, and you forced 11 turnovers. It was interesting because the game in Moraga, you forced 3 turnovers, win by 13. Here you force 11 turnovers and win by 13, which probably that final score doesn't tell the whole story of this game because you were in control the entire time.
Yeah, and we're up 22 at one stage, and I think
25
most of the 25 at one stage.
25.
And, I would. So we maybe didn't come up with steals. We had a lot of deflections. It just took them out of their rhythm of what they wanted to do when the ball went in the post. And again, Geordie Hunter got hands in there, and Mika couldn't just open up and then take your baseline, bring you back middle and spin because he wasn't sure where Geordie was going to be, and the ball was getting flicked out of there. And all those things, the active hands part does disrupt offenses. It certainly makes up for people that aren't as athletic as others. I mean, if you have good hands, it makes up for slow feet, and we've really improved in that area of our game. I think it's one thing Coach Boo's really pushed is you've got to have your hands ready because if the ball's loose, you've got to be able to go and get it.
Calvin Hermanson, I mean, obviously scored 19 or 17 points tonight. He was really good offensively, but defensively, I mean, Elijah Bryant's game is to get to the basket, and he wasn't able to do that very much.
No, we gave him, I shouldn't say gave him a couple of threes early. I mean, he had to make them anyway, but that was the way we were going to play him, so that was a gamble we took. We said, okay, we'd rather that than him getting to the basket and getting and ones or throwing it out to shooters. And in the end, I don't think he didn't make another 3 after the first couple of minutes, really. He made those 2. And, but Cal did a great job. I mean, obviously offensively did, but it was a really good team effort. I said it's a tough building to win in. I think St Mary's now 3-3 in this building.
Correct.
And for guys like Joe, he hadn't had a win in here. Dane hadn't had a win in here, and Emmett hadn't. So for Joe and Dane, that won't get another opportunity. And those sort of things, while we didn't talk about them necessarily, it was the first thing to come out of Joe's mouth. Because those things, you can't come back next year. In college sport is that. You have your 4 years, you have 4 cracks at it, and if you don't get it done, you don't get it done. And that's going to last you the next 60 years of your life. So you want to take the opportunities when they're presented. I really thought we were much more concentrated against the zone and against their pressure this year than we were last year.
Seemed like the thing that stood out to me the most was the fact that you have a much deeper team right now than BYU does, and that depth was on display tonight. When BYU went to their secondary guys, not as much of a threat as when you go to Dane Pinot, who can obviously affect the game on both ends, Tanner Krebs, and I'm missing somebody. Oh, Jordan Hunter, of course.
Yeah.
But that seemed like the difference in tonight's game, and that's what helped you kind of separate.
Yeah, and it's one of the – obviously it's an advantage on game night. The advantage that people don't see is that every day at practice, those guys that are on the bench, they make the guys on the start better at practice. If you didn't have a deep bench, practice is not quite as intense. Guys aren't getting – and that adds up over the course of a season. now, however many weeks into it, and each practice session is competitive and it's physical, and those guys are getting better and they're making our starters better. And while there's no stats on the score sheet and people in the stand don't see it, it's the contribution of practice from the bench that helps our basketball team.
Our Crown Plaza player of the game is going to be Evan Fitzner. What can you say about the job? He continues to get better and better defensively. I think he had a season high in minutes tonight, in 36 minutes, and he had 6 boards as well to go along with the 6 of 15 from the floor. But what can you say about his evolving game?
Yeah, and that's certainly the evolution of Fitz's game is certainly the defense and rebounding. And it's been hammered into him, and he's understanding how to go about that a lot better now. And part of it is just the evolution of his body, getting stronger, and the body of work that he's had over the last 2 years. But to come in here and do that against 2 really good bigs, and did a really nice job on the defensive end. His rebounding solid, and again, shooting is never an issue for him. And honestly, there are times where we tell him to shoot more. But when he puts one up, that's at least a 50% chance that thing's going in. And we'll run. It gives us someone to run plays for. What it really does is stretch the other team's defense. I mean, they can't help down on the post, or they can't help as long on a ball screen because there's a throwback and here's Fitz. So it affects the game in other ways. Just the thought that, Fitz is out there.
It's got to be a really satisfying win for you, Coach, and for the staff, and obviously for the guys. Like you said, no one's won here before.
Yeah.
So congratulations on the win, and on to Pepperdine.
Okay, thanks very much.
Marty Clarke, brought to you by Shamrock Office Solutions, delivering digital copier and technology solutions to the Bay Area for over 15 years. Visit them online today at shamrockoffice.com. And now our Crown Plaza player of the game with 15 points, which is, let's see, how many off a career high? That's 6 off a career high for Evan Fitzner. 15 points, 6 of 15 shooting, 6 rebounds. It's Evan Fitzner, and with an assist, and it separates you from the rest of the bigs here, Evan, because you just had 1 foul.
Yeah.
How has your game evolved? I mean, because you play a season high 36 minutes tonight. It seems like you keep getting better and better and better on the defensive side of the ball, as well as rebounding. 6 boards tonight. Talk about the work you put in to get better on both sides of the ball, and how that's started to pay off for you as this year's kind of worn on.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think the amount I've been working has really changed. I've worked hard all year, but I think it's the mentality that's changed a little bit, and just trying to play for our seniors. Dane and Joe, they're 2 pretty incredible players, and the way they play hard every night, you just want to play hard for them. So I feel like that's all I'm doing different at this point.
How about the versatility of your team? Because, I think if you were to tell somebody outside of the program that Jock Landale plays 14 minutes and with foul trouble and has just 7 points and 4 rebounds, you'd think maybe St. Mary's be in trouble. But you led by as many as 25 in this game. And, obviously yourself, along with Jordan Hunter and Dane Pinot, really filled in the void in the paint. I mean, the versatility on this roster gives you an opportunity to match up with not only a lot of different styles, but to, avoid serious problems when someone like that goes into foul trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of that comes from just how we practice really hard going into the season, and then during the season as well. I think all our guys are just ready. In the way Coach Bennett talks and prepares everyone for the game, I think everyone's ready, and everyone, when they get their chance, they're ready to go. So I think that's really a testament to that.
Defensively tonight, really good closing out shooters. I mean, I know part of the game plan was not to let BYU get open threes, and they took 14 threes. I would say probably 7 or 8 of those were contested.
Yeah.
So a nice job on the perimeter defense, but also on the interior. I mean, your ability to guard without fouling, that's also part of what BYU likes to do. 12 free throws in the first matchup, just 13 tonight.
Yeah, that's the scouting report. I mean, both of those things, guarding the perimeter, knowing which guys can get hot for them, especially at home when they got the crowd in it. So we just didn't want to let their guards get hot from behind the arc. And then as far as in the post, just knowing which way the other team's posts like to go, and trying to stop them as well as you can, because they got good post guys. So yeah,
the evolution of Jordan Hunter, I mean,
big
time against Gonzaga. I'm sure he picked up some confidence from that game, and then tonight, I mean, it's interesting to see how this game would have unfolded had he not done what he did tonight at the end of the first half.
Yeah, Jordan just plays really hard all the time, every day in practice, every game, every time he steps on the court. So we just expect that from him pretty much. But yeah, it's awesome to have someone like that come off the bench and just be able to. I mean, their best players, probably their best players, their center. So having a guy when Jock gets in foul trouble that can come in and just play hard and be able to stop him on some possessions is big time for us.
He's first in the country in free throw attempts. I'm not sure if you knew that. He shot 9 tonight, but he only made 4. I mean, you made life kind of – is part of the deal kind of to be physical with him and really make him feel you? Yeah,
well, he has to play a lot of minutes, so I think he probably gets a little bit tired too. And that makes shooting free throws a little bit tougher. But, you got to be physical with him. Try not to let him catch it. And then when he does, the guard's got to come in and help and just try to do everything you can to make it hard for him.
The offensive game plan tonight, obviously we knew they were going to switch between zone and man. And that 1-3-1 zone for them last year was really effective. They got a lot of runouts in the second half, and it got this, the crowd into the game, and it was kind of all downhill from there. What was the difference tonight, able to attack that zone? And also, with man, I mean, you shoot 10 of 26 from outside the arc. And then for yourself, when they close out hard on you were able to put the ball on the deck and make a play.
Yeah, as far as the zone goes, I think we're more prepared because, like you said, we saw it last year, and we know what it can potentially do as far as turning us over and everything like that. So I think when we worked on it yesterday and this past week, what to do against it, I think we kind of understood how much of an impact it could have, and we were just ready for it.
What does this win, leading by as many as 25 here tonight, say about your team, given the fact that, 8 o'clock game on Thursday, quick turnaround to get out here. This is probably the most difficult travel to any school in the conference. What does it say about your team to come in here and have a dominant performance like you had tonight?
That's Tony Kearns getting us ready. That's the magic of Tony Kearns. He works really hard to get us all ready, and I think all the guys on the team are willing to just listen to him and do what he says and try to get our bodies ready for a quick turnaround, like you said.
Yeah, he works hard, man.
Oh, yeah.
To the grocery store, pushing all the bell carts around the hotel, 30 bags in his hands. Literally whatever it does, whatever he has to do to help the program.
He's a legend. No, he's a big part of our success, and everyone knows that. So just having him around is big time.
110 boys at it again tonight. Evan Fitzner, 15 points. Emmett Narr, 8 points, 8 assists. That's big time. That's big time, Fitz.
110 is a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. That it is. Well, hey, Fitz, congratulations on the win. The nice performance for yourself. And see you back at the hotel, man. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Evan Fitzner, our Crown Plaza player of the game. Crown Plaza conquered the hotel choice for St. Mary's Athletics.